everybody, welcome back to This Old Trike, where today we're gonna be covering some four-wheelers. Just wanted to take an episode to discuss my late 80s to late 90s Honda sport machines, some of the best machines that Honda made. These are not in chronological order, but this is a very nice sampling of Honda's sport machines from the late 80s, 88 to 99, with a couple in between. These are in my collection for sentimental reasons. And I just wanted to take an episode to talk about why I have these in my collection, some things I know or I think I know about them. Because as you know, I am sometimes wrong, and one of the favorite things of my viewers to do is to point out where I'm off in my information, and then I have to correct it. So without further ado, I think we will begin. I'm gonna start our episode today talking about this 1991 250X. So let's talk about the years that Honda made the 250X first, just to get some background. These first showed up in 1987. The color scheme at that time was cosmic gray and red. My friend Greg just picked up a beautiful 1987 250X in cosmic gray and just shared some pictures with me. He is very happy, and I am extremely happy for him. His has some Honda line accessories. They made a bumper that went on your grab bar, and they made a headlight guard, and his is beautiful. So they made that. First year was 1987. Then they went on to change up the color scheme slightly to white, all white fenders with red complements, and that is actually a hard machine to get your hands on. So the 88 250X, TRX 250X is a pretty hard to come by machine. I don't know if we'll call it rare, but they're hard to come by. Then they didn't make them for 89 and 90, and they came back out in 91 with the blue and white version, and I think this is the best looking one. 92 is also blue and white, but they changed up the frame color, they changed up the decal kind of color scheme, introduced some green, which is cool. It screams 90s, but I think this just looks the best. And the reason this is sentimental to me is back in, I probably have to say 93 or maybe 94, my dad let me sell our TRX 200 1984, the first four-wheeler that Honda made, the first four-wheeler we had as a family. He let me sell that, sold it to a family friend named Dan, and Dan was also the connect between me and the buyer of the 250X I had when I was a kid. Now I'm going to overlay some mildly embarrassing pictures of myself to show you how excited I was, and to get the gear to ride and all the things. And that machine was great, and I was very thankful to have that machine, and I rode it a lot. And eventually, it got too slow. So that is when I upgraded to a 350X to keep things in the four-stroke family, but go bigger with displacement. But that's why the TRX 250X, especially the 91 model year, is special to me. Now these motors are pretty bulletproof. Are they a 246 cc like most things? Let's see if we can get some eyes on it. 246 cc, chain drive, 2-valve with reverse. So to activate the reverse on these, it's kind of like reverse on most things. You push this button down, it pulls a lever, which on this allows you to push this lever up, and that puts you in reverse. And the idea was you would have to take your non-clutch hand, so your throttle hand, and reach down and pull that lever up to keep it safe, for you to go into reverse. But you realize pretty early on that the curve of this allows you to catch your heel on that and pop you into reverse with your heel pretty easily. These are the precursor to, let's see, I lost my toolkit cover. I did buy a new one to put on that. How embarrassing. Didn't mean to show that to you guys. This one doesn't even have a toolkit on it. Wow. I'm buying junk these days. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. These were the precursor to the 300EX. And actually 300EX is a electric start model. These are kickstart. If you ever look at the plastic on a 300EX, they still have that cutout for where the kicker would go, but there's no kickstart backup on a 300EX. So that mold carried over. And because of that, you could put 300EX plastic on this plastic on 300EX. There's a lot of interchanging options. These tires are Otsu Oats PV702s. These are very similar tread pattern to 350X. They are not 350X, but they're very similar. 350X, as we can show you in here, and also second gen 200X, are PV702s. Apologize for that, my gimbal freaked out. So that's a pretty worn PV701 on my 87 200X. We all know why these are worn, because my friend Vinny, likes to do donuts when he picks things up for you, but he's a good guy for the most part. But those are 701s. But if you don't want to put 701s on a machine you know you're going to ride, you can get some comfort out of putting 702s, which are also not available, but they're more easy to find than a 701. So both of these machines have OEM tires on them. These are the OEM fronts, PV102s, 22,710. So not to be confused with the PV 101, which would have been on a 350X. It's always easy to tell TRX rims different from ATC rims because the bead rolls over to the outside like this, where on a ATC tire they roll inward like that, and the 87 200X rolls all the way in and seals up, so it looks more like this than anything else. But once you know the difference, you can really see them from a distance. Helmet holder up there on the handlebar, or by the headlight. Same over there. A lot of times you'll see these missing the handlebar cover or missing these plugs. When I bought this one did not have these plugs. And through the help of a good friend, Chris Picarillo, we were able to locate some that were still new old stock at a dealer. And I took great pleasure in opening those packages and putting them in there. I really don't have a whole lot to say about these machines. They are fantastic for an early teen, lightweight rider, just getting familiar with, a clutch and those, and advanced riding techniques. But, once you get a little bit older, you long for something with more power. At least I did. Usually these things are those heel guards are taken off, first week that somebody has them. So to find them with heel guards is a big plus. This machine has some rust on the frame. It's definitely got a little more use on it, I would say. You can tell by the flywheel case cover. It's got wear where this one has less. The head pipe is rusty. This machine, let's talk about where they came from. This head pipe is actually pretty nice and clean. This thing came from San Diego, and I live in New York. So quick geography lesson tells you that this is a long way away, about as far as you can get from where I live within the continental United States. Gentleman on Instagram, whose name I can't recall it off the top of my head, but he reached out to me and had this because I had just gotten this one and I was very tickled and excited to have it in my collection. I had gotten this from the big New Jersey deal that I did back, 2018 or 19, that I talk about sometimes. So that's when I brought this home. I was just posting pictures of it on Instagram saying how happy I was, but at the same time wished it was a 91, not a 92, even though it is quite nice. And this gentleman who owned this said, I've got a 91 I'd sell you. And I said, that's awesome. What are you asking for it and where are you located? He said, I'm asking $2,200 and I live in San Diego. I said, you know, if you were the next town over, I'd probably come over and try to buy it from you. But, you know, shipping is going to be at least $500 or $600. I'm not sure I could do that. So he said, so you're saying if I would sell it to you for $1,600 that you'd buy it? And I said, I think that's what I'm saying. So he said, I'd sell it to you for $1,600. I want you to have it. I said, well, let me look into shipping. So I used a shipper off of UShip to pick it up. It was right around $550, and it came across the country from San Diego. And that's how I acquired that one. This one I just mentioned came from the New Jersey deal. So these, you know, red frame on a 91, like a kind of dark silver frame on a 92. You know, the white of the letters goes to red, and the red on the letters goes to green. White on the seat goes to green. But other than that, I don't know that there's any difference other than VINs and serial numbers. I've ridden them both. They're great. The shock color is the same. You know, date code on the rims, I'm sure, is a little bit different. Red hubs. But yeah. So I rode my 91 250X for a few years. And then I bought a 350X and I enjoyed that. And then I bought a 250R and I enjoyed that. And then, before you knew it, the year was 1999. And Honda released the first sport quad that it had to offer in a long time. So we wouldn't be counting the 300EX because that's sporty, but that wasn't, you know, a race machine. So they released the 400EX in 99, and at that time I was in college. We just sold my snowmobile. We had some cash going around, so my dad helped me purchase this in 1999, and I've owned it ever since. So, you know, I took off the heel guards, I put on the Nerf bars, I put on that push bar, and this Calvin decal, the E series pipe on it, and all the hours on this for the most part are mine. So I'm the only owner, and I love it. It's a little bit dirty, but geez, compared to some, it's super clean. I did buy a new old stock seat for it that is still in the box, so when I do want to retire that seat, I've got a Honda seat to put on it. My buddy MRC Builds is messaging me right now. But this thing sounds mean. It's been rejetted to go with that pipe. Actually, could stand to be jetted a little bit differently. When the weather gets cold, it runs a little bit rich and fouls a plug here and there, but skid plate on it. Other than that, it's bone stock. But these are fantastic machines. So Honda went on to make these for a number of years. I don't even know how many years. They eventually got reverse, and then they got a body design somewhere in the late 2000s. But this is the bug eye version, the first gen, and they are just a great all-around machine. I raced this machine one time. That's why I put the Nerf bars on it. I didn't know if I was going to commit, so I didn't put a tether on it, but I did manage to race it that one time, and I realized quickly what I didn't do was anything to the suspension. I made a miscalculation. I did not put enough value in suspension. So when I hit the woods, you know, this is fine, but when I hit the track, I realized quickly that you need a lot stiffer suspension. So I struggled, and I ended up falling off the machine. I got hit by a 250R, and it cut up my leg. It was just above my boot. And that was it. One and done. That was fun, and I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. But then you might wonder, well, why do you have an 88 250R in your collection? And the reason I do is because when I was an early teen, probably 14 or 15 years old, and I was an avid reader of Dirt Wheels magazine, they had a picture of an 88 250R that was kind of done up and customized. I'll overlay what the magazine picture looked like, and I cut that page out and I put that on my wall and kept that as a someday I'm going to have one of these type of machine. And I got that wish fulfilled. 2020 I obtained a 86 Ducati in a big purchase that I had made, and I put that Ducati up for sale or trade on Instagram, and Michael Noska of 220 Trikes made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He said, I'll trade you straight up for this 88 250R, but you got to come to me. And he's down in the Pittsburgh area, and it was just under 8 hours of a drive for me, so it was actually a cool trip. My wife and I went on that adventure and dragged this home. That was before I was doing YouTube videos, so I don't have a whole lot of video of that, but maybe I can overlay some pictures. But I had always wanted one of these since I ripped that page out of that magazine, and it delivered. I think this is pretty stock. I suspect this is an aftermarket seat cover. I believe this is red. The orange is more red in the actual cover. That cover is almost too good to be original, you know what I'm saying? So, and the decals are peeling a little bit. They are original. I could swap those out, I just haven't. This was owned at one point by my good friend Chad Bennett down in New Jersey. Chad and I have done a number of deals together. And prior to that, it was owned by Nick Sincotti out in Massachusetts. Best tile guy in the New England area. Reach out to Nick for all your tile needs. I don't know that, but I suspect that he's a good guy. But that's just a quick video, I think, on some of my sport quads in my collection and why I have them. Some of the things I don't have here are what, a 300EX. I had an opportunity to buy those once, but it slipped through my fingers. I'm not trying to hoard up on sport machines. I don't have a 450R or ER in my collection. I do have my TPC, which is basically a 450 ER, I'm sorry. I don't have a 700 XX. Those are pretty cool. But that wasn't my goal. These are just for sentimental purposes. The goal was to get one of each model Honda three-wheeler. Every year, every model, every color. If you don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, that's why. And I'll tease you with some information. The last one I checked off my list was a really oddball one. Like, there's my 88 Big Red. And the last one I checked off my list is my 85 200 ES, which is here in the other room. And when I bought the 85 200 ES, when I bought this, I thought this was the last one I needed to have one of each. Look, it's a stinking workbench. But what I quickly found out, before I even had any time to celebrate, was that there was an extra model that they made that I didn't know about, and it was So rare, you probably never heard of one. But believe it or not, they made a 1984 ATC 200E. And I learned of their existence through a friend of mine, Kyle, who runs Old School Hondas on Instagram. If you don't if you don't follow Kyle on Instagram at Old School Hondas, make sure you do that. But he gets a lot of pictures submitted by people, and he posts them up and shares them. And he shared this picture one day, and it looked like an 84 Big Red that was really clean. So I paused and liked it and went to move on. I was like, wait a minute, that tank decal. So I zoomed in. So those stripes are leaning the wrong way, and my 84 is not in here. But the stripes on an 84 200 ES tank lean forward, if you know what I mean. And I noticed these leaned backwards. And while I zoomed in and pondered what the heck I was looking at, was this just a tank that somebody put, you know, aftermarket decals on backwards? I noticed behind where your right calf would be on the side there, I noticed it said 200E. You know, 84 would be ES because it'd have shaft drive. And so it got me thinking, well, they made a weirdo 200 ES in 85. Did they make a weirdo 200E in 84? So I went to the website CMSNL, which is a Netherlands-based parts website. And you can sometimes find obscure stuff that isn't available in the US. I shouldn't even be telling you this. Forget I said it. But I went to that website because they have the schematics for like the 88 Big Red in the background there. Like you can't find that on Partzilla or Babbitt's or anything. They have the schematic for the 85 200 ES. They have the schematics for the 87 ATC 250R, which we all know they never released to the public. And I went into the 1984 category and looked, and lo and behold, they made a 1984 200E, and that's what I was looking at. And so I wrote my buddy Kyle, and I said, Kyle, who submitted that picture? What's the guy's name? So I went to that guy's account, I sent him a message, and I said, hey, kind sir, how do you like your 84 200E? That's a pretty nice machine. And he said he liked it very much, and long story short, it wasn't for sale. It's been in his family forever, and he didn't really feel like selling it. So I understood that and thanked him for his time and said, if things ever change, let me know, please. But they didn't change. He still owns it, as far as I know. But I did notice one in Chile. That guy at least entertained a couple offers of mine, but no deal was made there. Then I noticed one for sale in Sweden, but I wasn't quite sure that was an 83 200E. It looked like some things had been done to that machine, so it could have been either way, but I didn't know. And then I found a nice guy named Risto from Finland, southern Finland this time, and he had posted pictures of a beautiful, all original, unrestored, beautiful 84 200E, but it was a couple years prior. But I just discovered them through doing some searches on the Facebook. And I asked him about that machine, and he said no, he had sold that machine and didn't realize they were anything special. But I told him what I was trying to do and how it was the last machine I needed to get one of each model, year, and color. And I needed to track one down. If you ever saw one for sale, please let me know. And guess what? Earlier this week, Risto sent me a message. And we are currently as I stand here today on Saturday, the deal is in the works. It is not purchased, but there is a very good chance that by the time you see this video, we have gotten it purchased, and we are currently figuring out shipping on how to get that machine home. So stay tuned for an update on that. I am looking very much looking forward to having all the models, getting all the pictures, and doing all the things that you do when you get all the models of Honda three-wheelers. I haven't figured out what that is yet, but I will for sure. And I just want to share that with you. I'm excited, as you can imagine. It's been a long-term goal. It's been about 20 years that I've been trying to do this. It's been a goal for almost 20 years, but I've been really trying to do it for about 6. So it's very exciting. But I think something else that would be very exciting is riding some of these 3-wheelers. So I think I'm going to do that, and I'll take you along for a little ride. See you in a bit. Okay, a couple of these haven't been started in a while, so let's see. Okay, we just did a quick spark plug change. 250R had an NGK Iridium BR8EC MIX. I'm not familiar with that plug, but I put a nice BR9 in it. Let's see what happens. All right. I don't know, but I think we need to bring that in the shop, see what's going on. Well, that was fun. The conclusion to that little exercise is that 250Xs are great for lower weight people. My 92 needs the rear shock rebuilt. It's a little pogo stickish, a little bouncy. Don't know what was up with the 250R. Last time I rode that was last fall. Haven't ridden it all year. Once I saw the spark plug, I realized, or I thought I realized, oh, there's a problem, but that wasn't it. And I knew the petcock leaked, so is dripping gas right now. All the gas I just put in it is going to leak out unless I capture it. I did buy a new petcock, so I do need to pull the tank and maybe investigate why that's not running. We'll do that. 400EX is a champ. The gas is below the reserve line in the tank, so that's why it wouldn't start right away for me. But I think we'll take that for a little rip while I hold my gimbal in the woods. Probably not the smartest thing, but who cares about being smart? That's dripping gas. I usually run that one empty before I put it in. Everybody wonders, how do you maintain them all? Poorly. That's the answer. I do what I can, but I don't always get to it. So let's take it for a rip. Well, thanks for joining me on that little ride. Sorry, no 250R today. That's the nature of the beast. I'm looking at the gas dripping right out the bottom of it. You serious right now? Does not want to play. Well, thanks for watching. My gimbal does not like my face right now, but hopefully you don't mind it too much. And hopefully we see you come back. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you next time. From this old Trike. Bye.